Hi, good evening, everybody. Today is March 12, 2024. This is the regular meeting of the Borough of Oakland Council meeting. Would the clerk please read the statement of compliance?
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. The meeting will adjourn no later than 10 p.m. unless a majority of the council members that are present vote to extend the time.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pat, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just want to remember the moment of silence. Fred Burks, he was a great volunteer here in Oakland. He passed away. He really started the entire OCC TV committee, and he's really going to be missed in this community and all the hard work that he gave.
May he rest in peace.
Okay, for my mayor's report, got a few items here.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Mayor Flower,
Here.
Councilwoman Gofredo,
Here.
Councilman McCann,
Here.
Councilman Pignatelli,
Yes.
Councilman Saliani,
Here.
Councilman Slasinski,
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Here. Thank you. All right, for the mayor's update, this is for the council and the public at large. I just want a quick update on the water PFOA situation. I'm happy to announce that on April 29th, Well 5 came online, and right now all of Oakland's water is in compliance with New Jersey DEP standards. So we have taken care of the water PFOA problem in the Borough of Oakland. I want to thank Borough Administration and everybody else that really worked hard to get this done by the end of February. Bush Plaza, if you recall, when I first got elected, one of my goals was to get the Bush Plaza project moving in the first 60 days. I'm happy to announce that we had a kickoff meeting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to defer to Councilman Saliani so that he can give you the details on, during his report on when we expect this to be done and have a ribbon cutting on that. Also, we had a public meeting on April 28th with the residents of the Ramapo River Reserve and surrounding communities as we're getting ready to start construction on the bridge of the Patriots Way Bridge. It was very well attended. We had members of council there. We had a borough engineer. We had borough administrator, and it was a very productive conversation with the residents and the surrounding residents. And there were a myriad of topics that people were concerned about that we are going to address for the next 2 years as we're dealing with this bridge being replaced. So we did already have a meeting last week to discuss the residents' concerns, and we will be getting back to the people once we have our report completed on that. Also, we had 2 special meetings last week on the budget, and this was really to provide transparency for the residents and really allow the department heads to really showcase and help the public understand, what the services that they provide, and also gave the council, the new council members, an opportunity to also understand, the depth and breadth of the operation here in the Borough of Oakland. Public service, obviously there's a lot of work going on down at Roosevelt Ave and other areas of town. So I asked our engineer and the borough administrator to put a meeting together with Public Service Gas so that we can get our arms around when this is going to be completed here in the town and when we can start paving the roads that they've dug up around the area. And we're having that meeting on Monday, and hopefully I'll be able to give you a better report once that meeting is concluded, the next council meeting. Also, there's going to be a styrofoam drive April 6th from 9 to 12 p.m. down at Borough Hall, right behind the library. And I just want to visit the Lennar development that's going on behind the high school. There's a lot of, let's just say we didn't get off to such a good start. We had problems over the weekend, starting early with wood chippers at 6:45. Working on Saturday, so I called today. I reached out to our engineer and I told him that we want a meeting tomorrow so that we can reset expectations with the developer and see if we can get back on track. We're off to a little rocky start, but we're going to reset expectations for them so we can move forward. And also, I just want to once again just talk about Fred Burks just a little bit. Fred Burks was just a wonderful member of this community. He was integral in starting the TV studio. He really put his heart and soul into it, and it was really Fred who brought us where we are today with the moving to high definition and everything else like that. And Fred, I just want to say you're really going to be missed. And with that, oh yeah, and also Easter egg hunt on the 23rd. Thank you, Ms. Lee. So Easter egg 23rd. With that, I'm going to open the public. Do I have a motion open?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody wish to speak?
Good evening, Amy Eilert, 318 Rainbow Valley Road. I'm speaking on behalf of the Follies. The Flow Follies was the previous weekend. We worked really, really hard. It's a group of moms, dads, students, grandparents, local community members from the Flow area. And we're always desperately looking for volunteers. It's for a wonderful cause. All the money goes towards our students, our seniors in the high school, and scholarships. So it's a wonderful program that they've put together since 1985. I did want to mention, since 1985, they've raised over $800,000. And this year alone, we raised 10, which was pretty good, but can be better. So we need more volunteers. I have worked with Mayor Kamala for years on the Follies, and we've always had so much fun. And I'm getting to that. We've always had a great time, and it's a bunch of people that come from all different, parts of their lives, whether they're young, old, whatever, and we come together and we make a really great show. And it's a great way to make friends, form lifetime friendships, and just have fun, and find out a little bit more of what talents you have hiding. This year was interesting because we had officials from Wyckoff that couldn't make it. So we had Mayor Kamala, of course, was one of the VIP candidates in the cameo scene, but we needed 2 more, and we were desperately on Saturday trying to find 2 more people. And I have to say that Councilman Talamini stepped up to the plate as the elephant poop expert, and I had to say it. You were phenomenal, and we had and nobody would fill the third, so you had to. The piano player did, I did. But it was an honor to be next to you guys. You did a great job, Eric. You're always, you get your hands dirty. With no matter what you do, you help my husband with the styrofoam drive, and all the people that work really hard for that. So I want to say I appreciate that. The community appreciates the volunteerism, and I know just from committees in town, we always are looking for volunteers, whether it is, green team, whatever it is in town. But on a larger scale, the money that goes towards the scholarship for our students is a wonderful cause, and I really can't reiterate that enough to the public and the residents of Oakland to please join us. The band is phenomenal, I hear. And I hope to see you next year.
Are you twisting my arm?
Thank you, and thank you again for stepping in.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Good evening, Sheila Boylan, 16 Walnut Street. I'm here again.
Not gonna throw that thing, are you?
Oh, well, this is the measurement of the water. It's 6 inches that was in my backyard Sunday after Saturday's rain. This is all because my neighbor, without permits, relocated dirt, put in a fence, did all kinds of stuff. I'm there 43 years. I have never, ever had water in my backyard, ever, 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 ever. I have tried and tried. I went to property maintenance. They sent me to Mr. Yakemic. They did come out. Mr. Yakemic came out and looked at it and said, oh yeah, he really messed up your yard. He wrote a report. I have the report. Then he sent me to the borough administrator, who sent me to maintenance, who and my last conversation said, we can't do anything. I said, what do you mean you can't do anything? You did it all without permits. My property is destroyed. I'm telling you, if I had my house for sale Sunday with an open house, I couldn't give it away. I couldn't give it away. I have pictures that I took Sunday morning. The woman who printed the pictures out for me said, oh my goodness, you got flooded. Yeah, I think I did. I said, if you don't know my house from a hole in the wall, I said, if you came up my driveway and saw this in my backyard, would you buy my house? She said, I don't care if it was Taj Mahal, I wouldn't go near it. The last time I spoke to property maintenance, he told me, there's nothing we can do. We can't make him take it out. We can't make him put in drainage for you. We can't make anything. If you think it has damaged the value of your home, you need to get a lawyer and you need to sue. Like, excuse me? I need to get before this, kind of sucked it up and said, okay, I'll get a couple of landscapers in and see what they think they could do. I got Green Meadows for one, and he said, well, you can't do anything on your side of the property. The drainage has to be from him. They fined him $200, that's it. And I am sick, absolutely sick. I can show you the pictures. I'd be more than happy to give you the pictures because I don't know what to do anymore. And I have Mr. Yukemic's reports. I have asked several times, has anybody called this number that he put down for a contractor who is supposedly on 172nd Street in New York, apartment 3? I have called this number at least 20 times. No one picks up. And I Googled it, and it's supposedly a woman, Susan Percoco. That's a contractor? If it's a contractor's number, I would assume that there's a business answering machine, somebody who's gonna say, oh yeah, so let me get back to you on a job. Nothing. I am so frustrated. My property was my only asset. I'm in a house that's 164 years old. I like it, but it's a little quirky. It's not the everyday house. It's not everybody's gonna walk in and go, oh, I love it. Some people might love it, and some people might not. The only thing I had going for me was my property. I don't have that anymore. And I am so tired of getting shuffled from one place to the next, to the next, to the next, and being told, nothing we can do for you. Too bad. Anybody listening, don't bother with permits. Just do whatever the hell you want, because the town isn't gonna back it, not gonna help you. I don't know, I really don't know what else to say. And I would like somebody to give me some help. And so far, not getting there. This is since October. Well, he did it in the summer, but it didn't start raining until October, so I didn't know. I was out there in boots. I couldn't go any deeper. It was 6 inches deep. 6 inches. Really? I'm there 43 years. Do you think I would have lived with this for 43 years? Not on a bet. I wouldn't have lived with it for 43 minutes.
Mr. Coons,
Yes.
could you set up a meeting with you, myself, and her, Mr. Yukemic, down at Borough Hall?
Sure, and well, and let me just explain too, as I reported after the last council meeting, Notices of violation were issued to
Yes.
Ms. Boylan's neighbor, to which the property owner never responded, and summonses have been issued for illegal soil moving and erecting a fence without a permit. So that's currently pending in court. I don't know the disposition date of that, but this is something where we are looking to use the tools at our disposal to effectuate a positive outcome here for the resident. But I'd be happy to set up a meeting where we can talk about it further.
No one gets back to me. I mean, poor Mr. Yukemi, who he isn't here. I mean, I called him Sunday
So
morning.
we're going to-
In tears, I was in tears.
Mr. Kim is going to reach out to you, and we're going to set up a meeting.
Okay.
And we'll deal with this.
I mean, the Green Meadow, he said, you know, the drainage would have to come from his side. He goes, well, if there's a trend along, he said, you know, I could run a drainage, but at the end is a huge tree. So where am I gonna put, you can't do it, and it's on his property anyway, not yours. So why would I be paying for drainage? It's a mess.
We will reach out to you tomorrow.
I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Carrie Serenides, 41 Sioux. So at the last town council meeting, there was an ordinance, introduction 24 Code 943, amend Chapter 9, recreation facilities and recreation areas. There was no discussion on this from the council, which explained what this was to the public, and there was no explanation of how this could and will affect our children. Just like the removal of the second public session, which yes, I'm going to say every time, which the council did not input from their constituents. Where is the transparency? Again, I ask the question, why are we not being thought of when you vote on these issues? If the state is requiring this, and I know that it is, to change the wording, then why try to change it without giving the public the right and the courtesy to know and understand these changes? There has to be other solutions. I brought this up already to some council members, but what about buying 1 or 2 porta potties and making them unisex bathrooms? We as parents should have a say when it comes to a safe environment for our children. This is not a high school where all the students are roughly within 4 years time frame of one another ages. This is a rec field where all ages come. Adults, kids from all over come to these fields during sport events. What happens when a 30-year-old man enters the girls' bathroom with a 4, 5, 6-year-old girl, or a teenager, or vice versa? What happens if a child, God forbid, ever is assaulted in the bathrooms? Can this happen now? Yes. Is there a greater chance it happens once you adopt these new changes in the ordinance? In my opinion, yes. My point in all of this is that these decisions should not be made without the constituents knowing about them. We elected you to be our voice, to have the best and most importantly, our children's best interests at heart. But that doesn't mean that we should be left in the dark or not know about the decisions that affect us and our children. And that does not mean that our voices should not be heard. So I will speak out today on behalf of everyone that has a concern about the adoption to amend Chapter 9, recreation facility and recreation areas. And I hope you will think long and hard before voting on this adoption today. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hey, Tim Lally for Mountain Lakes Road in Oakland, New Jersey. About 6 months ago, myself and my neighbor brought to the attention of the condition of the Chapel Hill sewer treatment plant. And immediately after that, first I want to thank Councilman McCann, Mayor Kulmala. You were there right there the very next day. You stood there, you said, this is unacceptable, it's got to be fixed. Saliani? Saliani. So you also agreed that this was terrible. Mr. Kunz, you and Mr. McKemmick, we've had multiple meetings, and your attention's been fantastic. So I'm curious, where are we with the design of the new aesthetically pleasing structure. That's my question. And then also, maybe the town wants to give some attention to the status, the condition. It's been neglected. Again, there's some sort of weird gray ooze going into the sewer drain. The fences have fallen down. The doors are wide open. And I get it's a construction site. You know, I mean, 6 months, I've been quiet for 6 months. I got patience. I'll wait another 6 months, not a problem. But just where are we with the design? I know Mr. Yukemic and yourself are coming up with something good. And that's about it. Cool? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Motion to close?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we've got approval of minutes, February 27th, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We got February 27th executive minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? Do
So moved?
we have a second?
I could have just emailed you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, special announcement, we got authorized raffle license RL 1491 for the Oakland Education Foundation on April 5th, 2024, Portobello's, Oakland, New Jersey, for the Oakland Public Schools. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to appointments, I'm going to be appointing Carol Ann Rose to the Public Events Committee. It's a mayoral appointment with council consent. Do I
So moved?
have a second? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Rose. We have got resolutions 2498 through 24109. We're going to do it as a consent agenda. Does anybody wish to pull any out? Not seeing any. I'd like to pull out 24106 and 107 so that the borough administrator can expand a little bit upon what we're doing with the
Beat me to it, yes.
the SLEOs.
Yes.
Please.
Good idea.
Anybody else have anything else to pull out? Not seeing any. Do we have a motion to approve 2498 through 24109 minus 106 and 107?
So moved?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Mr. Coons, I'd like you to just explain 24106 and 24106, 24107, where we are in the process and why.
Sure, so 24106 authorizes an interlocal agreement with the Round Indian Hills Board of Education to implement an SLEO 3 program. That's something that they determined this spring that they wanted to pursue. So there's some discussions with my office and our CFO and our police chief, and we informed them of how the program worked. Sent over the, essentially the same agreement that we utilize with the K-8 district. They have approved that, and now it's our turn to approve it. And with that, same as we did last year with the K-8 district, we would go about implementing an SLEO 3 security program for the high school. For Indian Hills in particular, the board will have a separate agreement with Franklin Lakes that'll cover Roundhill High School. And we would staff the position and roll out the program for the 2024-2025 school year. 24107 simply reauthorizes the agreement with the K-8 district. It's a one-year agreement, so we go to year with this. The only change is an update on the salary rate from $40 to $41 an hour.
Thank you, Mr. Coons. And can you also explain where the funding is coming from?
Funding is coming from the schools in both cases.
Thank you.
And just the discussion with the salary increases, but, I mean, it's been discussed with the schools and all that, that's all, or do we?
We had that, I've informed Ms. Wells of the K-8 district as well about it.
No, thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to approve 24106 and 24107?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to adoption of ordinances. This is 24 Code 493, amend Chapter 9 Recreation Facilities and Recreation. we have a motion to adopt?
To introduce.
Oh, I'm sorry, introduce for adoption. Then we'll open it, then we'll open for discussion.
I make a motion we introduce.
Second?
Do we have a second?
You're just opening up for discussion.
Yeah,
We're not voting on it.
We're not voting on this. No second?
Second. John, second.
Okay, roll call?
Councilwoman Gofredo?
This is just for discussion?
Just for
Just for
Yep.
discussion.
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
All right, so what I'd like to do now is turn it over to our borough attorney so that he can really explain what's going on here and the reason that we're dealing with this issue.
So, sure, so as I kind of explained it last time, first, as we always do with all ordinances, we introduce the ordinance, we notice it, we come back, we have a second public hearing. The state, similar to what they did with the rattlesnake ordinance, coming back at us again and saying you have a provision in your ordinance that's not in compliance with the New Jersey state statutes. As a council, we may not like that, but on its face, our ordinance does appear to be in confliction with the state statute. This ordinance is not adding any affirmative language. It is only removing language that says that, and Mr. Coons would have the exact language, I believe that anyone over the age of 8.
It simply amends the one sentence, and so the entire section reads, fail to cooperate in maintaining restrooms and washrooms in a neat and sanitary condition.
So what this is doing, it was not enforced. It was not, anyone was even aware of it, but the state caught us and said, this is, in contravention with the statute. And we have an obligation as a council to bring our ordinances in compliance with state statute. Now, that does not mean that the council cannot take separate action to address this situation. Doesn't mean that a resolution can't be passed to explore what other options the council may have. But on its face, our ordinance is in contradiction with the state statute. And therefore, my legal recommendation that the council remove that language and address, I think should address the issue at hand. But I think that as a legal threshold, this ordinance is in contradiction with the state statute.
Could you
So,
get-
can I ask a question, just for
Yes.
everyone? I was on the rec commission a long time. I don't know of any instances where anything happened, right? So have we ever had an instance where people had to pull this
So,
ordinance or talk?
so when the state brought this to our attention, the first thing that myself and Mr. Coons did was reach out to both the rec commission and the police department to see whether there have been any instances of this ordinance being enforced or any issues, any incidents reported, and the answer from both was no.
What statute is in violation? Are we in violation?
The New Jersey law against discrimination,
Does that have a fee shifting element to it?
yes.
Does the Attorney General have the authority to charge towns for legal fees in a civil rights lawsuit?
Yes.
I want to make it perfectly clear. I am so much against jeopardizing any of our children in regards to this. I think we can come up with a solution that will satisfy everyone's concern and also be in compliance with the state. We don't want, and believe me, they can, in some instances, fine us $5,000 a day if we don't do this. So I don't think we should jeopardize town funds. However, there are ways that we can also protect the children. And I think we will discuss that further tonight. The residents have a perfect right, you're right. We have to protect them, and we have to do whatever we can. We also have to be compliant with the law, just like you or I, or all laws in the state of New Jersey. We have to comply, we have no choice. But I think we can do something that will satisfy your concerns. Maybe not 100%, but pretty close.
So, go ahead.
Mr. Gilson, so if we don't change the ordinance, what is the repercussions?
We're not
Well,
changing it, we're
I
omitting
can't
it.
necessarily go into the details of what the state has proposed that the action that they would take, but you're looking at extensive fines against the borough, and that's currently what's on the table for us.
And then, so we've reached out to the state and asked them for language or guidance, and have we gotten any?
We have not, we asked for a model ordinance, which we haven't received, but at this point, we're not adding any language. We're not adding language to our ordinance to affirmatively allow. We're only removing language that's in contradiction with the statute. So we're not.
And so if we remove this language, will the state feel that we're compliant?
Yes, that's, so far that's the only statute which they said is not, and obviously we're now taking it upon ourselves to review our statutes more thoroughly because no one knew this, and I did not know this ordinance existed. No one seemed to know that this ordinance existed. And so, we are not doing a deeper dive into our ordinance to see if there's something else that we missed. We may want to reevaluate the Horsemen's Committee that hasn't been appointed in 40 or 50 years. So, there's just ordinance provisions that people they've been there. This one I think dated from the 70s, maybe the 80s.
And this is the second contact received from the Attorney General's office about our ordinances?
I don't believe the first one was from the Attorney General's office. I believe it was from a different
It was
agency
from
of
the
the state.
DEP.
DEP? Okay.
I have a question, Mr.
But
Gilbert.
I just want to make it clear that this is not, and I think it's been made clear, this is not on the council's volition, that this was a cause that was chosen to be taken up. This was the state telling us, you got to do this.
Mr. Gilbert, just a quick question. Is it part of our process when we introduce ordinances and that we ask the public to speak on any ordinance before we vote on it?
We are required by law to hold a public hearing on the second reading of any ordinance.
Okay, so,
And failure to hold a public hearing would render the ordinance null and void.
right, so there's transparency is what you said, right?
I would say so.
Okay, always, correct?
Last week. Nobody knew it was on it last week.
You're out of order.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this it has to be transparency, it's part of the process.
Yeah, we introduced an ordinance on first read, we noticed it for a second hearing.
Right. And before you can pass a law, before you can do anything, before we can take any action, we always have to discuss it with the public, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Where was the discussion?
Right now.
Hang on.
now.
One meeting. Anybody else from the council
Right
have
now.
any comments?
Is there to the borough attorney, could we push this forward and then we have better solutions in place and then pass the ordinance in time, or is this time sensitive?
I would say it's time sensitive to pass the ordinance. I don't see any reason why you couldn't brainstorm and pass a resolution and solution tonight. But I think this ordinance, I don't see it's a clear cut that it's in violation of the statute, whether we agree or disagree with the statute.
When do we bring that possible solution up? Now or
New
later on?
business,
We do under new business.
Under new business.
Okay. So,
So if we have an idea, we have to wait until after we pass this to bring it up?
I mean, you could table this ordinance and then do that. There's no reason you couldn't do that.
And then
I'd make
come
a
back
motion to
this?
table this and discuss a solution.
I second the
Yes.
motion.
Well, you don't need to second, it's a
once you table it, it's
it
tabled.
has to be voted. You have to vote on it,
Vote on the table, I'm sorry.
but it's automatically voted. Now you can take a roll call. And
Okay, roll call on tabling. Who made the motion? Who made the second?
No second, Steve.
Just Steve made a
Do we have a
note.
second?
Second.
All right, roll call on tabling the resolution.
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slizinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to suspend the bylaws so we can go out of order for new business?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, who has new business?
So
I
from-
do.
Oh, go ahead,
Ms.
Jody.
Gofredo?
I would like to suggest that we enact single-use bathrooms at the rec facilities.
Can you explain?
Can
That
I-
would mean that one individual can go into the bathroom, lock the outer door, and use it one person at a time, or can go in with 3 of their friends and lock the door 3 at a time.
Councilwoman Gofredo, if I can expand on that, I agree that that's something to look into. I think we have to do a study just to make sure there's no impact, right? What impact there would be. There would be impact, obviously. So we have to make sure we can do that. I haven't been in rec bathrooms in a long time. I don't know what they're like on the inside anymore. I don't know how many stalls are in each stall, so I think we just need to explore that.
I think you could authorize the administrator to take the steps to effectuate single-use
Good.
bathrooms.
Is that something we should check with the Attorney General before we enact it?
I can tell you that single-use bathrooms are not a violation of the LAD.
Somebody
then-
want-
I can initiate that discussion with TPW tomorrow morning.
So do we want to,
And then also, Mrs. Serenides had a idea too about adding additional porta potties for single use. Is that something we want to look into as well?
I mean, if we're locking the
Once
doors.
you put the lock on it, I don't think, yeah.
It's just-
I mean, I think the lock is pretty straightforward and makes good sense. And, you know, again, we've never had an issue. I can't imagine anybody having to lock it, but okay. And I'm just thinking of like a little slip lock, you know, nothing, not a key, not a deadbolt, you know, because you'd want to be able, you want somebody to be able to get in there if there was an emergency. But, you know, I think just make it single use and go for there and hope that the state moves on to some other town.
I was gonna ask, Mr. Gilson, are you aware of any other towns that have been, that this has occurred in, with this?
No,
enforcement?
and as a matter of fact, in my research of this ordinance, I did contact several other towns, and they are now checking their ordinances, and some of them were in violation. I won't name which ones, but this is not an uncommon ordinance to have, and it's just something that, you know, other issues going on in Oakland. This was not a thorough review of our code book was not something that had been undertaken in quite some time, if ever.
It's always good to
Without
leader.
breaching any of the code of ethics and the protocols of settlement negotiations, did the Attorney General offer us an affirmative solution, or did they just threaten us?
They did offer several, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by solutions, but they did offer several programs which they wanted us to undertake, is, you know, things like training and things like that to deal with the issue. I wouldn't say they necessarily offered something along the lines of the single-use bathroom.
Did they have a model ordinance for us to follow, is a question.
No, we were not provided with a model ordinance, and again, we're not adding any affirmative ordinance language at this time, we're only removing this one section.
Mr. Gilson, you know, what bothers me about this is it almost feels as we're being targeted with this resolution in this borough. And the fact that we are being held, let's call it what it is, held as a hostage to comply with this is deeply disturbing, you know, that we have to even deal with this issue.
Someone or some group referred this to the state.
And there's been no problems, there's been no complaints, no victims, nothing. It's one of those ordinances that's been on the books for years and years and years that no one would even look at.
So, and Mr. Gilson, I guess, would it be a safe assessment to say that the person to complain to would be what the Attorney General works for, regardless of this?
I would say it's an issue to bring up with your state legislators, you know, addressing this as a legal matter. I know you've been in contact with Assemblyman Auth about this issue, and, you know, unless the change comes from the top at the state, there's really nothing we can do about it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any further discussion? Or actually, does anybody wish to put forward a resolution to go to single-use locks?
Yes.
Second. I'm sorry.
I would like to make a suggestion that we go with the Councilwoman's suggestion of a single use with the lock.
We authorize our administrator to move forward with it.
Okay. We have a resolution. Could you assign a number to that resolution?
24-110.
So we'll do it on the fly, 24-110, to authorize the borough administrators to look into putting single-use locks on the bathrooms at the rec field.
So moved.
Second.
Who?
So Russ did the move in the first place,
Yeah.
right, before. Now I just need a second.
Second.
Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Gafredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes?
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
All right,
Can I just ask, we're doing this at the rec field, are we going to be required to do this anyplace else? Should we be thinking about doing this?
Everywhere.
I think it has to be all public.
All public access.
All public
This
access.
particular ordinance only referred to our recreation, and I couldn't find any reference in our ordinance to any other bathrooms in the town, but they would all be subject to this. So if that's something we want to move forward with on
Let's
the
just move
whole.
ahead with everything.
Yes, please.
I would think so.
Well, the LAD, the law against discrimination, applies to all
Everything.
public
Right.
restrooms by public entities.
So then I would think we, you know, in this building, whatever, you know, the library,
Well, Borough Hall is only one, can only have one
Well,
person.
a lot of our facilities, it's single.
And they have locks too, most of them.
yeah.
Any further discussion on this? I just, you know, this is just my personal opinion. It's a shame that we have to live in these days, that we have to deal with bathrooms for children and having to put locks in, and I don't know what world I'm living in, but I think it's gone a little crazy. Anyway, motion to suspend new business at this point, to a motion to suspend?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna go back to the ordinance that's
Need a
currently.
motion to untable.
Yeah, right, I'm just coming back, I'm getting there. Moving back to the ordinance that's currently tabled, do I have a motion to untable ordinance 24 code 943?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Councilwoman Goffredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pinkatelli?
Yes.
Councilman President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Okay, we were discussing this amongst ourselves. As far as the council, do we have any further discussion now that we have approved the resolution for single-use locks before we open to public? Not seeing any. Do I have a motion to open to the public for 24 code 493 ordinance?
943.
943.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
This is all, I thought it was all in favor.
It's
This
all
is
in favor.
Okay, very good.
Good.
Yes.
Mike Guadagnino, 34 Harper Street. Just want to say, single use, great idea. Great idea. I heard from back there from Kerry too. There's a great solution. Here's the issue. Last meeting, you didn't let us know what it was about. Nobody had any idea. And Mr. Gilson did not give an explanation. He's talked about rattlesnakes. Nobody knew. So we couldn't have this open discussion last week. We had this open discussion obviously now, which is nice, and I hope I see why how we're voting on it. But we've got to know what's going on. We have to know what's going on, Eric. We discussed this. We have to know what's going on. So I'm glad we came up with a solution. It's a good compromise. Compromise is important. Oakland's a small town. We're all neighbors. We all live together, work together. So I'm glad we came to this solution. So thank you very much for this solution.
Well, it's not finally, but let us know if it's an issue too, right?
There's yet to be an issue, but you took it off and didn't have the single issue. If there was a man in the girls' bathroom, I called the cops, I called the police, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So this had to be done first, because it may not be a problem, but then a problem may begin.
Can you let the rec commission know what we did?
Rec commission, yeah, rec commission completely was against this.
No, I mean, let them know what
No.
we did tonight.
Oh, I believe,
Solution.
no, yeah, they're waiting to hear from me, yeah, that's cool. That's not much.
Anybody else wish to address this ordinance?
Sheila Boylan, 16 Walnut Street. I'm a tennis player. I'm down at the fields at least 1-2 times a week at night. And last year, they were locking the bathrooms at 10 o'clock. And what was happening is people were just sticking a stone in the door to keep it open. Because we're there until 11, at least. And there was no way for us to get in to the bathrooms. It's a little disheartening to not be able to use the bathrooms at that hour. So that might be something else. I mean, single uses, I'm fine with that. I think, I agree with you. I think it's a shame that that's where our society has gotten us, but I'd like to make sure that the bathrooms are available to the tennis folks for the 3 nights, or sometimes on Mondays, until at least at 11, maybe a little longer, because they were being locked. And what was happening is they were just putting a stone in the door to keep it open. So it doesn't help security a whole lot. Well, they do that with the gates too, with the, on the tennis court, so that would be my only concern.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address? 24 Code 943.
Motion to close?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
What's this vote for?
This is to close the open
Close
session.
the
All in
open.
favor?
Yes.
All in favor?
Councilwoman all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so now we're up to the adoption phase. Do I have a motion to adopt 24 Code 943?
No, we,
That was public
That was public.
discussion, public open, public
That's
closed.
adoption
Now this
ordinance.
is the adoption.
Motion to adopt, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
No.
Councilman Pignatelli?
No.
Council President Saliani?
no.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Mr. Tally?
3 yes, 3 no, it's a tie.
All right, falls on me.
Falls on you, babe.
Unfortunately, I'm going to vote in the affirmative on this, being that we don't really have a choice in the matter. And I'd hate to jeopardize any funding that's coming from the state and/or put us in a position where we are facing any more fines. And I feel that the compromise that's been brought forward to make a bathroom single use, and we can put this ugly chapter behind us on voting in the affirmative. All right, moving right along. We have nothing on work session. Anybody else have any new business? Old business. All right, council committee liaison reports. We'll start with Mr. Talamini.
Yes. Okay, public events. Registration is still ongoing for softball and late signups are being accepted for baseball. Summer camp registration will begin April 1st and run through April 30th. If you sign your child up during those days, you are guaranteed to have your child participate. If you miss the deadline, he or she cannot participate in open camp and may be on a wait list for the day camp. Please do not miss the signups. Recreation is partnering with a group to run an after-camp program which will begin at 3 o'clock on the days of camp. Please keep an eye out as the info will be posted shortly. For all recreation sign-up and everything else, please visit www.oaklandrec.org. And then we're supposed to have a planning board meeting on Thursday. And that, just rec. I coached my last basketball game, and I just want to say thank you to rec for everything you did for me, never mind my kids. I'll just tell you, I say it all the time, Oakland Rec is one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. And if you have a chance to coach your kids, whether you played a sport or not, just do it. Take the class, take the Rutgers class, and do it. It's a great experience. And even my middle son he coached this year too. He's in high school and he helped coach 3rd and 4th grade. It's a wonderful program, and I just want to say thank you to Rec for everything you've done for me. Never mind my kids. Thank you.
Mr. Pignatelli?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I met with the Environmental Commission last week. We discussed plans for a cleanup around Arbor Day. I didn't bring my notebook with me, unfortunately.
April 20th.
20th?
April 20th.
Thank you, appreciate it. April 20th. We also discussed the recycling company that wants to go in on West Oakland. Chairman Lee Heyman wrote a perfect, as far as I'm concerned, rebuttal to why they should not be allowed to do that. He is an environmental engineer. He gave several good points, and hopefully the county will agree with what he proposed. Board of Health will be meeting next week, and that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Saliani?
Public events. The Easter egg hunt is the 23rd of March, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. will be when the hunt starts. Please get there a little early to see the events. The rain date is Sunday, the 24th at 1 PM. Let's hope we don't have to enact that. From Bush Plaza, so as the mayor alluded to being in the meeting, we are, the kickoff meeting did happen. You'll start to see construction in the next 2 weeks. The goal is to have 90% of Bush Plaza complete by June. And then the only last remaining thing, I think the clock will be ordered, there might be some potential delays with that, but we expect to see everything done by June. That's our goal. April's the kickoff to start the construction. And if anyone wants to donate to help support, please contact me at Saliani, SALIANI, at oakland-newjersey.org. We're taking donations for the park. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. McCann?
Yes, last Thursday, the OEM met for the first time this year. Just a quick question, I actually have a question for our borough administrator. One of the things that I noticed in terms of our preparation, is there, do we have access to any radios in the event cell towers are down? I discussed that with the head of the OEM, and he said it's always been an issue. But I think we can speak to the police department, because in a situation when communications, having council people and you.
Right, you need radio communication.
Right, is there anything we can do to get?
We used to have a bank of radios.
Right.
It's kind of switched over to the digital trunk system, which was
Right.
very expensive. I thought there were some spares, but that's something I can speak with Roy and the police chief about.
Yeah, I think there may be some old radios, it's just something that they would keep charged, 10 or 12 of them, maybe 20, yeah, the more the better. All right, so anyway, it's a good group, and they're implementing some changes, minor changes, to make things a little bit more smoother, and of course, they're dealing with the flooding issues and flooding circumstances that seem to come up in our town. She's gone all the time. This Monday, we're having an administration meeting and a public safety meeting on Monday evening. Our first one is at 6 o'clock here at Borough Hall, and then the next one at the library, and that's it.
Mr. Sisleski?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update tonight on the library. The OPL will be hosting a concert this Sunday live on the stage, Stash in the 5 o'clock Shadow. They'll be playing a mix of upbeat classic pop music starting at 2 p.m. Register online or by calling the library as seating is limited. They also have all the regular scheduled programs for children, and they have a meeting of the Anime Club for teens on Monday, March 18th at 6 p.m. Looking ahead to March 28th, there's a fantastic floral wreath design class scheduled for 6:30 p.m. That also must be registered for. You can check the library's online calendar for more details. More updates at the next meeting.
Thank you. Ms. Crafado?
Thank you, Mayor. The Shade Tree Commission met on March 4th. I was late to the meeting because I was at the budget meeting. They are working on Arbor Day presentations for the schools. Please take a look at the website and consider adopting a tree. Email shadetree@oakland-nj.org to learn more on how to receive a free tree. The next meeting will be Monday, April 1st at 7:30 p.m. at the Senior Center. Any questions, you could always contact them, or you can contact me. Oakland Communications Commission met yesterday, 24 hours ago, here. The OCC remembered Fred Burks. You can also visit their OCC YouTube channel to see a video created to memorialize Fred Burks. It was beautiful. Really beautifully put together. OCC is waiting for the fiber loop completion. OCC is always looking for volunteers, especially their newsletter committee. Their newsletters committee mission is 2 more volunteers by July. Next meeting will be held May 6th at 7 p.m. in council chambers. And I saved the best for last. Access for All met on March 7th. They are busy preparing for their next 2 events. Easter Egg Hunt, which is scheduled to be held on March 23rd, The rain date will be March 24th. They are also busy preparing and planning for the carnival, which is their special event, which will be held on Saturday, June 15th, from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m., which will feature limited lights, sound, slower rides for their guests. And the next meeting for Access for All is April 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at the Senior Center. That's all I have.
Mayor, before you close,
Councilman?
You did now? Okay, good. No, you did it, fine.
I'd like to propose that we have a plaque made in honor of Fred Burks and possibly have it in the operation room there, whatever you call that room back there.
Control room?
Communications
Put it over the
control
little
room.
window.
Right. But I think we should recognize the work he did and pay homage to the program and all that he did for the town. He did bring us along, he really did.
Brought us a long way.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll get Fred a plaque. Thank you. I just have one more piece of business to the Borough Attorney. Could you give us an update on the dump?
Nothing, no action
No
from the
movement?
commissioners.
Nothing? Okay. That being said, bills to be paid. Ms. Granado.
Total bills to be paid, $253,000, $149.23.
Do I have a
said that
second?
incorrectly. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Gofredo?
Yes.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Council President Saliani?
Yes.
Councilman Slasinski?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
You almost
Meeting
had it.
adjourned. Next meeting will be Tuesday, March 26th.
Next time.
Next time.